Westminster Council has launched an innovation challenge for people to submit ideas that could help shape the future of the city. The competition's open to anyone who lives in, works in, or visits the city. I'm here today with Councillor Paul Swaddle, who's Cabinet Member for Finance and Smart City Policies at Westminster. So, Paul, why have you launched this competition?
Well, look, it's really important that as a council that we learn from our citizens, whether they be visiting, living or working here. And what we wanted to do with this innovation challenge was open ourselves up to the ideas that many people already have. I'm sure that many watching this will go, well, actually, I know what you should do. You should do X. Well, what we want you to do is tell us some of that stuff, because many people are involved in innovation themselves, or they can just see how a way another business has solved a problem might be relevant to us. So you don't need to be an expert to submit an idea, and you don't have to be able to build it. What you need to be able to tell us is, what is the problem and how do you see technology helping resolve that? There are 4 key themes for us. Extraordinary experiences. This is about how people engage and experience the city. Empowering people. How do we make people do things like tackle loneliness or build people's digital skills? Clean tech city, key with our environmental challenges at the moment. And then we also want to drive innovation and learn and just be able to do things better. So business process improvement type stuff. So we're looking at all of those areas, and we welcome ideas from anybody and everybody.
There's quite a lot of recovery to be done in central city areas all around the world, actually. So you've done quite a lot of initiatives in Westminster to get things moving. This is a part of that policy, is it, to post-COVID recovery? Yeah,
it's one of the things that, I guess, one of the challenges that COVID threw up to us was we needed to communicate with people, learn and do things more quickly. And out of that came this innovation challenge, because what we found was that we were much better able to engage with our citizens, residents associations and businesses through COVID using technologies like Zoom and Teams. And what we want to do is keep learning. What we also learned was that we don't have to know all the answers before we implement stuff. That, sometimes we need to get on with stuff. I think a really good example of that was the Westminster Connects project that we set up at the beginning of COVID, which was about helping manage the volunteer response to COVID. We had many people volunteering. The process of going from that idea of having a database and a system to run that, we launched that in less than 8 weeks. Pre-COVID, I'd have been lucky to get a paper that explained how we might approach it in 8 weeks, let alone build it. So we need to be that faster council, learn, and one of the ways we can do that is by listening to people's great ideas, looking at them, and then really importantly, implementing some of them.
Yes, that final bit's the most important thing, isn't it, really?
Absolutely.
Well, Paul, thank you very much indeed. And now I'm joined by Aruj Haider, and she's Chief Digital and Innovation Officer at Westminster Council. So, Aruj, perhaps you can tell me what is the sort of strategy for Westminster's becoming a smarter city?
Of course, thank you so much for having us and giving this opportunity as well. Westminster Smart City is really, we say a smart city for all. We started on this journey about a year ago. And when I started this role, I realized that there were a number of projects going on. And to be fair, very infrastructure based, very technology focused. And what we did was we weren't very clear at that point, what our personality is on smart city. What do we want to achieve with smart city? So we did a lot of research. We looked at different cities across the globe, from Barcelona, which is very, citizen-centric smart city strategy, to Dubai, which is very much about technology. And then we looked at, our residents, our communities, our businesses and visitors. And, pre-pandemic, over 1 million people lived, worked, or visited Westminster. And we really, thought about what does a smart city mean to us? And for us, a smart city is not about technology first. First and foremost, the way we define our smart city is to be able to understand the needs of our communities, our residents and businesses and visitors, and then bring smart solutions to help them. So that's why we say smart city for all. One of the key pillars of our smart city approach is participation, where we want to work with our communities. We don't want to do this to them. Otherwise, it's going to be a beautiful, a piece of paper that we can, use in management report. But actually, we want to really co-create our smart strategy with our communities. So that is at the heart of everything we do. We've got 4 themes in our strategy: empowering people, which is all about working with children and young people, elderly, businesses, and empowering them to make the most of their lives in Westminster. The second theme then is driving innovation. We know that we can't do it all alone. So a smart city, for us in Westminster is about working with our partners. We are local government at the end of the day. We cannot compete with big tech or SMEs. So this is about working with the partners, the voluntary sector, in making the most of it. The third one then is clean tech city, which obviously is pretty self-explanatory, but this is all about creating, a cleaner and greener environment. And how can we use smart to do that as well? And then the fourth pillar, is extraordinary experiences. So for those who live, work, or visit Westminster, how can we create extraordinary experiences? And when I say extraordinary, they don't need to be the big radical experiences. They can be the most basic ones as well. So how can we enable our residents to just quickly pay for council tax? So it's just simple things like that to let's create some augmented reality experiences. So that is our smart city strategy. And at the heart of it is our communities, our citizens, and we really want to change the dialogue.
And so, having looked at cities around the world, what are the sort of things you've seen there that you might like to see happen in Westminster?
So I mentioned Barcelona before. Barcelona is very close to my heart because of the whole, citizen-centric approach. And one of the things that they do really well is they've got this, Fab Labs idea. So basically, they bring technology. So, you can, they've got, let's say, 3D printers and so on and so forth. And they look at real life problems and they, from the communities, and then they bring them in those centers and they create solutions. A really simple example is, they were struggling with the hospital, the children's hospital, and it was really bland. And you can, imagine a children's ward, very bland. And, they said, okay, what can we do in a cost-effective way to make this experience a little bit better for, these sick children? So they used the Fab Labs, the 3D printers, and they created, I think Avengers models, and they put them all around the hospital. So it's a really simple example of how the community, understood a problem, and they did something themselves through the technology that the council was providing. And so for me, those are the kinds of things that I'd like to see more of in Westminster. It can be as big or as small as well. I mean, there are other things, waste solutions, where, we all worry about, those delivery drivers. So what smart solutions exist out there that can enable and make the lives of our visitors better as well? Similarly in Helsinki, they've completely rebranded themselves to be, a city that is all about innovation, and it promotes innovation. And I think that is something that is very important. In Westminster, we want to encourage that. And when I say innovation, I don't mean, always coming up with the most innovative ideas. I just mean making it happen. So for me, how can we as a city enable our communities to give their ideas, to then partner with them to make it happen through big tech as well? And then finally in Amsterdam as well, again, very citizen-centric, they've created this data lab where they've put data in the hands of their, citizens and communities and businesses. And, they're saying, come on, guys, you've got this data. Now you tell us, what problems are there to solve? So it's things like that that have really inspired us in Westminster. And we want to have that focus in our smart city approach as well.
So when would you hope to see some of these ideas actually in action?
So, this first year, we called it a quick start. So we got on, with a lot of pilots. So for example, under the clean tech city theme, we've put air quality sensors outside of schools. So naughty parents like me, who drive their kids to school, once my kid has that data from his school, he can say, you know what, mommy, this is not good. This causes pollution. Can you, walk me to school instead? So that it creates behavior change. So we've done things like that. We are working on a digital card at the moment where we want to be able to give easy access to libraries, to leisure, to City Save, which is one of our sort of, discount schemes, to residents with one swipe. And that is something we're hoping that we can launch in the first quarter of the new year as well. We are working on an augmented reality experience around Christmas. It's just experimental. It's not going to be that big wow experience, but it's something, you're in Trafalgar Square, you might see a snowman coming in augmented reality. That should come in November as well. So we've done lots of quick starts, and we're off to a good start. But for us, the next focus then is how do we make it sustainable and long term? So one of the big things that we are launching at the moment is the Westminster Innovation Challenge, where we are opening it up to our communities, our residents, our businesses, our staff, as well as school kids, to give us their ideas. And then we'll be partnering with some of the big tech to make those ideas happen as well.
And so what should people do who want to take part in the challenge?
So it's really simple. There is a digital portal, but we're also very conscious that some people might not be able to access the digital portal. So we are doing digital assists. So making sure that we are going out there either to the communities or to the libraries to make sure that we can help people who are not comfortable using digital, and then get their ideas onto the portal. So really simple, log on to it, the website. It's a really simple form that you need to fill. We've got 4 themes under smart cities: empowering people, extraordinary experiences, clean tech city, and driving innovation. So submit an idea under any of these themes, and you've got until the 5th of December to submit an idea. Once people have submitted that, we'll obviously sift through them, and we'll be keeping them in the loop, and we'll work with the partners to announce the winners in the new year.
Very good. And thank you very much indeed, and good luck with the results.
Thank you so much for having us.